Okay, well, here is an individual who says, I'm newly diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I'm not sure what to eat. It's been a month now. I've managed my blood sugar levels by staying away from sugar and carbs. Well, that's a great start. Eliminate what you cannot eat and pretty much everything else you can eat. That's kind of the rule. So there's only 3 macronutrients. One would be the carbohydrates, one would be the proteins, one would be the fat. And if you eliminate the carbs, and really when I say eliminate, I don't mean really go down to 0 carbs. What I mean is eliminate all the nasty carbs, all the super duper high carbohydrates. So that would include all the sugars, that would include nearly all the starchy type foods, potatoes, rice, breakfast cereal, pasta, and so forth. So you eliminate those or you cut them radically down. And again, what you have left you can eat. And that pretty much means almost any kind of meat. So unless you're a vegetarian or a vegan, meat is a freebie as long as it's not got a bread coating on it, like the super duper fried chicken. Kentucky Fried Chicken has roasted chicken, which has basically no coating. And then it has the original recipe, which is somewhat low in terms of a fried chicken, and then it's got the extra crunchy, which has got the most carbs to it. So definitely, if you're going to eat at KFC, don't eat the extra crispy. Anyway, but basically any meat and any kind of a salad, as long as it doesn't have a high carb dressing, as long as it doesn't have chips in it or croutons, get rid of those croutons. Sometimes when I'm at a restaurant and I end up getting a salad with croutons, I just carefully pick them out and put them on the side. And I'm sure the people who pick up after me after I leave think this guy's weird. Doesn't he like bread? And the answer is, well, I like it just fine, but my body doesn't like it. So what can you eat? Well, you can eat salads. You can eat low-carb vegetables of all kinds. There's just a number of them. And if you're not sure what they are, just go to Google and type in list of low-carb veggies or vegetables, and that'll probably be right, although you might want to check the actual carbohydrates. So lots of things you can eat. And, I was thinking the other day, well, actually, I've thought about it a lot since I ate there. I went to Golden Corral a couple of years ago, or it might have been last year when I went to visit my sister. And I think it was at the end of 2020, actually. And I stopped at a Golden Corral. I actually videotaped a little bit of it and showed it on Beat Diabetes. And I ended up having some meatloaf, which I scraped most of the ketchup off the top of the meatloaf. And I had a couple of veggies with cheese, broccoli with cheese, cauliflower with cheese, and I forget, it seemed like I had a 4th ingredient, but basically all low carb. And I looked at that. I had my vegetables, I had my meat, and I thought, this is a healthy meal. I don't know why anybody would kick, but some people act like keto or low-carb eating is the most dangerous thing in the world. But really, when you're talking about meat and vegetables, you're not talking about something that's dangerous. If you want to talk dangerous, how about chips? How about snacks? How about Little Debbie's? How about all the sugary treats and the sugary desserts? That's what's dangerous. It's funny. People act like, oh, keto, it's so dangerous. Don't you know it's going to give you a heart attack? And then they'll stuff themselves with all kinds of desserts and sugary treats. And somehow it never strikes their brain that what they're eating is far more dangerous than having some meat and vegetables. Anyway, you'll soon get the idea. And watch my channel. There's other channels as well that talk about the keto diet or low-carb diet. You'll find out what you can eat and sound like you already know what you can't. All right, here is an individual who says, I mentioned in one video that you can pretty much learn all that you need to know in terms of just the basic knowledge of how to eat in just a few of my videos. You don't have to watch all, I think we're up to 400 plus now. You don't have to watch all 400. Now, they can provide you with motivation, and that's not unimportant. But it doesn't take much to learn them. So anyway, here's how they respond. Even if you repeat all your knowledge and experience every single time, it's like a blessing. Every time I hear you, it's new motivation, new inspiration, and new hope. I have gotten rid of my type 2 diabetes and blood pressure. I'm off all medications now. I still wait to hear from you every week. It keeps me on guard with my diet. To me, that's wonderful. I mean, they've already won. They've already beat diabetes. They're off all meds. Everything's going well. And they're still watching my videos, which I don't mind a bit. But I know that that's not the case for everybody. Some people beat diabetes and it's like, well, we'll see you after, sometime, Dennis, but you've helped me. I'm thankful, but I've got other things to watch. And I get that. If I wasn't involved with all the teaching, I'm not sure I'd be watching a lot of beat diabetes videos either. But this person likes to watch them. It says, keeps me on guard with my diet. Please repeat, and once again, repeat. We love it. Well, again, this is a diet that helps get you off medication. If you've been taking medicines for health afflictions, such as high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and various things, and you've been doing that for years, taking these same pills every morning, maybe every evening, and now after all those years of taking those meds, the doctor says, well, you don't need them anymore. And you know that you're older now than you were when you started taking them, which typically the older you get, the more you're going to need meds. But now you're older, but you don't need them like you did when you were younger. Well, you got to be doing something right. When the doctor says you don't need the high blood pressure medication anymore, you don't need the metformin anymore, and you stop taking it with the doctor's full permission and request, you got to be doing something right. Your body must like what it is you've been doing. Otherwise, you'd need more meds, not less meds or no meds. And we hear that all the time. People that got off their meds just by following the low-carb diet and some time-restricted eating. All right, last comment for this particular video. This person says, brown and white rice raise my blood sugar into the 210 to 220 range. With the brown versus the white rice, switching places from trial to trial as to which one raises it the highest. And they end their comment with this thought, rice is really bad for diabetes, for my diabetes. Well, yeah, and it is interesting, white versus brown, they say it's hardly any different. One test I do, the white rice will raise it a little higher than the next test, the brown, but it basically ends up a draw. Not much difference between the two. And that's what you find. Read the box. If you don't want to take my word for it, you don't want to take his word for it, which you shouldn't, read the box and you'll find out that brown rice is got 1 or 2 more grams of fiber than white does and almost exactly the same carbs. There's just not that much difference. And I was thinking about the white versus brown. It made me think of a song I used to appreciate back in my hippie days. I wasn't a true hippie, but I was kind of a hippie wannabe when I was younger. And there was a singer named Melanie. She was famous for singing her song, I've Got a Brand New Pair of Roller Skates. And she had a song where she talks about white versus brown in terms of what you eat, white rice versus brown rice, white bread versus brown bread. And she was a vegetarian. She was wholly into vegetarianism in those days. So I thought I'd read a couple of the lyrics from this song. I looked it up on the internet. She starts out saying, I was just thinking about the way it's supposed to be. I'll eat the plants and the fruit from the trees, and I'll live on vegetables and I'll grow on seeds, but I don't eat animals and they don't eat me. Oh no, I don't eat animals because I love them, you see. I don't eat animals. I want nothing dead in me. So strongly vegetarian sentiment here. And then she gets to that line that I've never forgotten. Most of this I had long forgotten, but there was one line I never forgot. She says, I don't eat white flour. White sugar makes you rot. Oh, white could be beautiful, but mostly it's not. But when it comes to, and there is some truth that brown bread will have more nutrients. It'll be a little healthier for you. But when it comes to diabetes and blood sugar spikes, there's almost no difference. So stop feeling so noble when you eat your whole grain bread or your Ezekiel bread and you pass up the white bread. And someone offers you white bread and you say, oh no, I don't eat that nasty stuff. Stop feeling so noble, my friend, because there's very little difference in terms of blood sugar spike. So getting back to the first comment, don't know what to eat. I've just found out I'm diabetic. Well, you can watch some good videos. You can read some good books. You can go to YouTube and type in the words keto meals or low-carb meals. You'll have more meals that you can try than you could eat in a whole lifetime. So there's really no shortage, but you have to do your research. You have to do your homework. If you don't do that, you are going to be stuck in a rut, eating the same old thing night after night and finally getting sick of it and throwing the low-carb diet aside and saying it's not sustainable. Who could live like this? But for the people that do their research and check out the different recipes and the different meals and combinations, man, there is so... Tell you the truth, I think I eat better now and I eat a more enjoyable diet now than I did back when I was eating all the nasty glucose spiking stuff because I've learned so much. It has forced me to get involved in research and trying new recipes, and I've discovered so much, and some of it is just so good that I don't miss it at all. I'm not on the edge of backsliding. Some people act like they are. It's like, oh, I'm so tempted to eat that deep dish pizza. I'm so tempted to eat a big bowl of ice cream. And by the way, speaking of temptation, I've got to give this one last thought about Melanie. You know, I said Melanie was a vegetarian. I don't know if she still is or not. She's still alive. I just looked at Wikipedia, and it looks like she's about 75 years old now. Whether she's still a vegetarian or not, I could not say. But back in the day when she was writing these songs and was really, really popular, she was a vegetarian. But she tells a funny story. The song she's most noted for is that I've got a brand new pair of roller skates. And here's how she happened to write that. She said she'd just come off a long fast and just fasting, I suppose, on just water. And finally, she broke her fast. She was coming back from a flea market, and somehow they stopped the car at a light, I suppose, or a stop sign, and apparently the windows were open. She smelt the nearby McDonald's, and it smelled so good. She went in, and she ate a big old hamburger and fries and a shake coming off this fast. And so she broke her vegetarian rules, at least temporarily. I don't know whether she ever went back. But she said after enjoying that meal thoroughly, the hamburger, the fries, and the shake, she said the words came to me in about 15 minutes. She thought back to her childhood and had pleasant memories of her childhood. I imagine eating hamburgers. And she came up with the song, I've Got a Brand New Pair of Roller Skates. So in case you ever wonder, or you're in a trivia game where you're asked, how did that song come to be? Now you know the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say. All right, well, that's it for now. God bless. We'll see you again soon. If you've recently been diagnosed with diabetes and you've just discovered this channel, let me recommend that you go to our Uploads page, which will give you access to every diabetic video we've posted since we began. As you work your way through all our videos, I believe you'll find the help you need. A link to our Uploads page is in the description.